first of all, it's not looking good for the realm of apologetics online. Why is that? The latest crop of goobers, particularly the Gen Z 25 and under, it's not looking good. We have now, and not just for them, also for debaters in general, we have seen now multiple instances back to Cholo Cheater at DebateCon 8. We got cheating in terms of ChatGPT writing Malik's opening statement. A Cholo Cheater trying to use his Meta AI glasses in live time with his butt buddies sending him questions and answers in the text messages, and perhaps doing other things as well, sending him butt pictures of themselves. I don't know. Then we've got more AI reliance on the part of people like Orthodox Muslim, repeating things that are easily disprovable, not substantiated. For example, we had him claim that the idea that Luke's genealogy is giving you an indication of Mary's lineage. The Muslims are so stupid that they think that I was arguing that Luke's genealogy is telling you Mary's background, as if it's not about the Davidic line. I'm not saying that's literally Mary's genealogy. I'm saying that that's the genealogy that ties it into Mary also being from the house of David. But they're too stupid to know what you're saying. They think you're actually saying that literally Luke's genealogy is how we got Mary to be who she is. It doesn't tell you Joachim and Anna. That's from the Proto-Evangelium of James, which is part of our tradition. So if you're Orthodox, one of the ways that you would know things like, Saints Joachim and Anna, it's not listed in the genealogy, but it's telling you the genealogy from a different perspective to tell you how Mary is also part of the house of David. And thus she also has priestly descent, you see. And all the way back to St. Ephraim the Syrian, other people who are not saints, Clement of Alexandria, Tertullian. This is a common reference in the church fathers. And so I went into Ephraim the Syrian's homilies on Luke, and you'll find him giving a lengthy description exactly arguing what I was arguing. Now, I was arguing this on the spot from memory. I didn't have any patristic quotations, citations, or ChatGPT or AI in front of me. No one is sending me text live time, ding, 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 as you heard with Orthodox Muslim as he's reading out these arguments via ChatGPT. If you want the link, you can go to my Twitter and you'll see right there. This is the full section. I put up 2 sections, but I want to highlight really what's going on here, which is all of the people that are about 30 and under have picked up on the fact that they think that AI is some sort of cheat code for all of this stuff. Now, we saw with Jesus and whatnot, he admitted earlier in previous videos that when he tried to do a debate with Need God, now Need God is one of the worst, lowest tier debaters on the internet, who himself uses AI in debates and just quote mines and spits out what AI says. This is so fraudulent, stupid, and fake and gay that it's mind-boggling to me that they're all just doing it. And then their giant horde of 500,000, Mexican Catholics don't see any problem with this. But I'm noticing a pattern. Cholo Cheater, no problem with it. And they'll even defend in the comments, yes, so what if he cheats? You deserve it. Now I thought I was the bad guy. But if you cheat and lie and do all these things against me, it's justified because I'm the bad guy. Okay, well, why am I the bad guy? Because you're mean, bro. Right? So it's all just literally just herd pack behavior. Nothing to do with what's true and false. And ultimately, and you can't get these people to understand this because they're like 17 to 25-year-old idiots. If you look at the way, for example, I commented on Jake the Muslim Metaphysician's post. So Jake noticed an inconsistency in what Avery is saying about Protestants and Catholics and Orthodox, and then at the same time turning around and saying, if you teach anything other than justification by faith alone and sola fide and sola gratia, the Reformation distinctives, then you teach a false gospel and you're under the curse of Galatians 1. This is what he says in the Brian Davila interview. Now, all of these people are so dishonest that they can't see that Jake's point is correct. That doesn't mean that I'm supporting Islam. I just debated Jake a week ago. This is really idiotic tribal type of behavior to think that I'm only going to be on a team and I don't care how dirty my team fights, how underhanded, how fraudulent, how deceptive, how lying my team is. All of that's justified because you're the other team. It's childish. It's stupid behavior. And all of the hundreds of people in the comments underneath Jesus and whatnot, they're doing the exact same thing. First of all, they're saying he's a victim. He's not a victim for calling into my stream. If you call into my stream, we've had this going for almost a decade. This isn't a formal debate. This is where you are in a proving ground to do a formal debate with me, right? A lot of these people are 17-year-olds. It's in their bios. They're like 14, 17, but they're operating in giant Hispanic packs. It's a bunch of cholos trying to debate Thomism. They don't even know what it is. And they're all relying on AI. And it's gotten to the point of it just being absolutely insane. And I'm just pointing out that, do you understand, we're approaching it in a principled way. I'm going to say if Jake is right about something he says about God logic, that's factually correct. It doesn't matter if he's on another team. It's just factually true. God logic is now saying that if you don't teach justification by faith alone, you teach a false gospel. That means he now condemns all of his Orthodox, all of his Catholic and Oriental audience because they don't teach justification by faith alone. So he's already said, he's admitted now, he's finally having exclusivist positions. Now, at the same time, the irony here is that in Galatians 1 says that if you're a Judaizer, you're teaching a different gospel. But God logic is a Judaizer. He openly, consistently sends people to a synagogue where they circumcise people, which is Judaizing, textbook Judaizing 101. So even this idiot hypocrite who's sending people to a false gospel church, which is actually the context of Galatians 1, is calling Orthodox and Catholics and anyone else who doesn't believe sola fide a false gospel cursed person. And if you just want to side with, even if you think God logic is right, you have to be consistent and say that he's condemning Orthodox and Catholics. And all you guys do is play teams and you don't care about what's true. This ultimately only hurts you. I'm trying to tell you this. Don't you understand that Lofton did this in 2018 and now he's irrelevant? The people that do this, you become irrelevant. You won't even be here doing this stuff in 5 to 10 years. You'll be in something else. And for the grifters, they don't care. They'll just move on to some new thing. But for the people who are trying to pretend like they're serious and they're pious and they're victims, nobody forced Jesus and whatnot to call in under a sock account. Nobody forced him to pretend like he was here as an impartial questioner when he wasn't. He was just clip farming. And if you go to his channel, all it is clip farming. On talking about his Instagram. If you go to his YouTube, however, he's got many, many live streams joking about kissing his other Catholic butt buddy. Okay, it's weird. That's just, I mean, it's obvious to me that the kid is gay, right? And he's trying to cloak it with, oh, it's all irony, bro. It's all irony, bro. We're all irony bros. Everything's like irony, bro. But by the way, check out these pictures where I'm kissing you that are AI, right? Like, whatever. Like, but I'm totally not gay. I'm totally not gay. I promise. I mean, the kid acts like an actual like theater gay kid. Okay. And then you're all like, oh, he's a victim. You're mistreating him. He's a victim. He deceptively called in, first of all. How is he a victim? Secondly, when you call in, this isn't a place for you to get, you're not owed a formal debate. You're a rando. So when you call in, you get basically what I would call boot camp treatment. You get boot camp treatment. That's what this has always been for. That's why you don't get to just ignore the challenges and the critiques and run off into some other topic and then play victim. You don't get to do that. That's fake and gay. And if you can't handle the way that I do the boot camp stuff, you're not going to be a public formal debater with a significant audience. Now, you can be one of these phony baloney real clip farmers and have a mind bomb audience of people who've never read a book and watch 30-second reels. Yeah, you could do that all day long. And maybe that's what but then you don't need to step into trying to be a debater, right? So if Jesus and whatnot admits that he lies and uses AI, all of his commenters are defending it. Well, so what? He repented. Why are you still being mean? This exposes you. No. It doesn't. It exposes him for not being fit to be a public debater. Could you imagine how would these people handle me cheating in a debate? What if I used AI and cheated, which I've never done? I don't need to. I think it's ridiculous. You're a retard if you have to do that. Plus, it's not even reliable, you idiots, as we just saw with Libiano. It's fraudulent. It's just as fraudulent as pretending that you speak Latin when you don't. It's all sued stuff. And notice whether it's Destiny's Crew and Erudite, she does the exact same thing. Or Jesus and whatnot and his crew, they did the exact same thing. Cholo cheater, exact same thing. The Muslims, exact same thing. Do you think any of these people have actually read any of these texts? They haven't read any of this stuff. I mean, if he wants to really come over here and debate, I am inviting him to do a formal debate. And let's get into, look, here's the writings of St. Basil. I've read almost the whole thing, okay? Let's get into his letters that actually discuss the Filioque. Let's actually have that discussion if you want to do it. But I don't think that's what he wants to clip farm. That's it. And that's not what debating and apologetics is. And here's why, as I said in 2018 to Lofton's crowd, and exactly what I said was correct. If you just build an audience of low tier people based on clip farming and based on bad argumentation, you're not going to keep those people long term. In 5 years, they're going to hit significant challenges, especially as they get into their 20s and 30s. And a lot of these people are going to figure out, hey, wait a minute, all that sales pitch that I was given in terms of low tier slop quote mines, it's a little more difficult than that. These are a little bit difficult fallacies. I mean, a little bit difficult issues, excuse me. And I was relying on fallacies. I didn't actually read any of this material. I just, again, you understand that AI will contradict itself from one prompt to the next. I've seen it. We've done it. Everybody's seen this. So it's idiotic to rely on it for your religious paradigm. This is so stupid. And you're all being super childish. As you say that I'm being mean to a kid. He's an adult. Nobody forced him to call in. You don't get to call in and play victim. So if he wants to do the discussion, I've offered him multiple opportunities. Now let's do a formal debate. And I'm going to start saying that it actually needs to be in person. Debates need to be in person because everybody now can hide behind their computer and their laptops. And when it's not their time, they can be looking up, getting chat GPT responses. That's not how to do a debate. It's fraudulent. And I'm actually seeing a lot of these idiots, these young people, these like 17-year-olds. So what's wrong with using chat GPT in a debate? So what if he's using meta glasses? You could do the same. No. Are you serious? That's why when idiot Jesus whatnot debated idiot need God, they're literally just using chat. It's two chat GPTs fighting. This is so stupid. None of this is productive. It's not real debate. Yeah, when you go to his comment section, it's literally all like 17-year-old Mexicans. That's all it is. That's the only people to defend. That's his audience. That's why he has a huge audience. Somehow he tapped into the illegal immigrant market somehow. I don't know. Somebody just call ICE on Jesus and whatnot's audience, because that's the way to, if you want to shut him up, just start calling ICE on his audience. Now they're going to play victim, right? He's racist. He's racist. The Muslims did the exact same thing in the Libiano debate when he started freaking out and I did an impression. They say doing impressions is racist. Get out of here, you lying. You guys are disgusting, lying, hypocrite, deceivers. You're all racist. You make black jokes. Muhammad enslaved black people. He said they had raisin heads. And then you're going to pretend that you're victims when somebody does an impression of you. But see, this is the point. This is another point that keeps being borne out, which infuriates these people because it's true. They don't have the same ethic as you. They don't understand and value truth and honesty. They have a tribal brown ethic. That's a fact. And they will protect the team above what's true. They don't care about what's true, first and foremost. They care about what's advantageous because that's their upbringing, their society, their belief system. That's not Christian. That's their indigenous BIPOC ethic. And I don't care if you think that's mean. It's literally factually true. You can see it with the Muslims. The whole religion is early on in the Quran literally said to be the revelation for the Arabs. The Arabs felt inferior because Jews and Christians had a revelation, but the Arab people not have one. So Muhammad, being cunning, noticed this. I will give it. I have revelation from God for Arab people. And then later on in the Quran, after his wars and conquests, it becomes, oh, this is actually for everybody. And it trumps the one that came before. Even though early on in the Quran, it says many times over that what came before is perfectly consistent and a confirmation of what's in the new revelation. Yeah, every Arab will play the race card. And this is what people groups who feel insecure do. right? Minorities do this because they understand in a democratic society, as we've seen from the paper, what's it called? The Dark Triad Traits paper. The Dark Triad Traits paper notes that people who are narcissistic with the dark triad traits know that in an egalitarian society, victimhood status is actually a currency. So the more that you can portray yourself as victim, the more attention and currency and status you can get within those societies. That's why it doesn't matter what Jesus or whatnot said or what Libiano said, because they're victims now, even though what they're saying is absolutely retarded. And I also want to get into a point that none of these people are going to get, right? None of these people got the argument that was being made against Jesus and whatnot, because their response was, well, okay, so fine, forget his paradigm, just argue the church fathers quotes as if they're theory neutral. I mean, every Roman Catholic does the exact same thing to the Protestant that I did to Jesus and whatnot. They will say, you can't just quote mine the scriptures without a context. The scriptures are theory laden. They're not self-evident. And yet, suddenly with the Thomist, I'm supposed to give the common ground and just grant neutrality. Oh, okay, yeah, just quote mine, the church fathers from your Thomist paradigm, even though you're saying that, okay, fine, I won't use my paradigm. How? It's not possible. That means that you think there's neutrality. You have to prove to me that there is neutrality first. There is no neutrality. These people don't even know what we're talking about. They don't even know that this is a massive debate in the last 2 centuries of philosophy. They don't know that. And they literally will say this is all just sophistry. No, it's not. Let's go take a class. You'll have a class on what it means to be theory laden, what neutrality is. Is there neutrality at all? This is what paradigm worldview philosophy is about. It's not my fault that you don't know that you're not educated. If you're coming to debate, the expectation is you're stepping into an arena and you're educated. If you're not, that's not my fault. That's on you. Nobody forced you to come to debate. So I'm inviting any of the people, and we're going to talk about paradigms. We're going to talk about Islam. We're going to talk about how, again, the Muslims are so stupid. They actually think that when you ask them the messianic dilemma, as Sam Shamoon formulated it, they think you just go to a dictionary, missing the whole point of what the argument is. You don't believe dictionaries are revelation. And the dictionaries are going to refer to the Hebrew text about what Messiah means, you idiot. So that's begging the question. So now you do believe that the Hebrew revelation is valid and authentic. Yes, we do. Yes, because only in that part. So only in the parts that back up the thing in question. You understand? This is an inconsistency in your position, because you're arguing on the one hand, I can go to Hebrew revelation, it's valid, and then when it poses a problem, it suddenly is corrupted. This is the same stupid move that the Mormons make that we call out. It's fraudulent. It's an obvious problem. And you saw last night, we had about 5 Muslims after Libiano given this argument. And then we did the same thing that we always do to illustrate how stupid this is. All you have to do is ask the Muslims to just state your argument. They can't even do it. They literally cannot do hypotheticals. None of them. I've not yet encountered one. Maybe Dr. Khalil can, probably Jake can. But they're about the only 2 Muslims I've even met or talked to in recent years who can actually do a hypothetical statement. They're actually incapable. Do you understand? You're not dealing with a religion that has a place for reasoning and rationality. It doesn't. In fact, the early phases said logic is haram. We've seen those slides from Dr. Khalil. Ibn Taymiyyah says logic is haram. So later schools had to modify this and try to implement elements of Greek philosophy. And they're such frauds, they'll actually claim that everything that's in Greek philosophy is actually from the Quran. I'm not joking. They'll say that Allah actually gave the Greek philosophers the Greek philosophy principles that the Muslims in the Quran later explicated. You can't make this up. I mean, this is so fraudulent. It's an exact copy of what the Mormons do. This is why these religions are fraudulent. If the prior revelation says any new revelations have to be consistent with the prior, and the new revelation comes and says, I'm consistent with the prior, but the prior is also corrupt, this is an obvious kill shot. And the messianic dilemma is just a variation on the same type of argument with the Islamic dilemma. Because if the Quran doesn't tell you where Jesus is Messiah and what that means, then you're assuming the biblical context that provides the meaning for the phrase. Messiah, what does that mean? It's a Hebrew term for the anointed one. And it doesn't matter if you define the word according to Arabic philosophers and linguists, because they're not revealed infallible people. That's the point. Painted, what's up?